Hello everybody and welcome back to another episode of the Director of Football Sabotage with nobody because we've resigned from Livorno and we are going 5 years into the future to see how they are progressing without us as their steward. Now in terms of what I sort of expect from Livorno going forward without us, I don't expect them to actually drop that much domestically. There wasn't a big challenger in Italy for us when we started dominating the league. Oftentimes, the team who was coming second changed all the time. Napoli, AC Milan, Inter Milan. Juventus were never really around. So unless they decide to sell all of the players, which I would not be surprised about if you've watched the series, I do expect them to still be able to compete domestically. Now, on the European front, we really did struggle to compete at that upper end of the Champions League. I think we maybe had 4 or 5 seasons in the Champions League. A couple of times getting knocked out in the quarterfinals, once in the semis. I think we didn't make it past the group stage, and the other time we were in the Champions League. So, at least European-wise, they might still struggle. Their reputation wasn't as high as some of the other clubs. Like when we left West Ham, they had the highest of reputations in world football. I don't think Livorno were there, despite winning the Champions League. So they might struggle to keep a hold of players or sign players to replace those who have been sold. So, and with a stadium that was only 30,000, although it was newly built, they still haven't got the revenues coming in that some of the big boys in Europe would still have. So without further ado, let's go 1 year on. So we resigned in June 2030. We are now in June 2031, and we're going to click on Livorno and see how they have done in the league. First in Serie A, so they have retained the Serie A title, which is huge. I thought maybe they might drop, but they might not. Juventus actually coming second this time, 4 points behind them. None of our players in the top 3 goal scorers. Ralovic is still there looking at it, so is Mazzolossi. The major thing I'm interested in is transfers. Let's see what they've done this season. In terms of sales, they haven't really sold anyone hugely major. Plizzari was debatably our starting goalkeeper, but not really. So he's left to Barcelona for £70 million. Jonathan Uvino was the young Argentinian centre midfielder I brought in the season before this one, and they've sold him for 21 million, which I think is a bit of a cheap fee. In terms of anybody else, I don't really recognise too many. I mean, I recognise the names, but none of them were really key and central to our first team squad. In terms of the players who they brought in, Victor Campos was actually a deal I had already agreed with Atletico Madrid, a centre-half, fantastic physicals and mentals, some work to do in his technicals, but he was okay. They haven't really brought in anyone else major. Lorenzo Di Carlo from Palermo, 18-year-old central midfielder, looks like he'd be absolutely fantastic once he gets some game time. Diego Ladagana, whoever he is from River, a winger, right. So I think we're seeing a change of system straight away. We'll get into the players, we'll get into the squad, and it looks like they are playing wingers. Ralovic out on the left-hand side. I mean, it's not his most comfortable position, but he can certainly do it. Stanimir Stoichev, he's the main one for me, who I want to see how he's progressing. He's looking pretty special, isn't he? Valued at £60 million now. He's just had a season there, 13 goals in 30 games. He scored 7 and 14 for us in the previous season, so it looks like he might be getting first team football. Udem was another one who I want to see progressing. I mean, he hasn't progressed massively, but he's done okay. Ronald Webber's still at the club. I thought he might have been one of the first to leave. Pizzulo's still at the club, fantastic. Kyle Wright as well, still there. Jerome Mert, looks like he's getting in the first choices. Oscar Lopez getting game time, he's not. So his potential will definitely be getting downgraded. Victor Campos and Patrick in at centre-half. Patrick, that is very, very interesting. Now, it was something I considered with Patrick when we were struggling to sign a centre-half pretty much every season. But with his heading at 10, I can't even remember how. He was 6'1", so he could play a centre half. I just felt he was better suited in that defensive midfield position. So to see them go against that and put him at centre back was really, really interesting. Ventroni's still at the club. Eoton Cruz, is he improving as a goalkeeper? He definitely is. He's getting better. Obviously, a lot more game time since Plizzari left the club. Marco Marx, he's still getting plenty of game time. He was my best centre half for me. I thought he was better than Zango. So the fact that he's not. I wonder if has he had an injury? He must have had an injury. Hernia. 3 weeks. Nothing major. Another 4-week injury with a twisted ankle. Where is Zango? Zango's there. 20 appearances. So it looks like Victor Campos has come in. And he's sort of, well, not really. 25 appearances for him. So it looks like Patrick's been the main centre-half with Marco Marx, Zango and Victor Campos fighting for that other centre-half spot, which is a bit interesting. I guess. Matt Salossi, you must have been playing attacker midfielder. 24 assists for the season in 52 games, 16 and 37 in the league. Absolutely fantastic stuff for him. Now valued at £71 million. That is a lot of money. Right, so that's the squad. Let's take a look, see how they got in the Champions League. They actually lost the World Championship final. That's fantastic. Europa League. They get knocked out in the group stage. Barcelona and Chelsea in the group stage. No wonder they got knocked out. They lost to Chelsea and Barca. They drew with Chelsea and Barca and obviously beat Dynamo in the two other games. So they got knocked out in the Europa. Please see you won the Europa League. First knockout round they went through. Second knockout round they went through. Quarterfinals they through. Semis they through. And they actually won the Europa League final. So they went the reverse order. Champions League to Europa League. Which isn't ideal, but absolutely smashed Athletic Bilbao. Which is something I couldn't personally do when we faced them last season in the Champions League. Interesting stuff. I'm a little bit shocked that they didn't sell more first-team players in particular. And I'm a bit shocked they didn't make it through the Champions League knockout stages. But once you see the group stage with Barcelona and Chelsea, it's sort of understandable. If you are interested in this save, actually, I am going to upload the save file from when I did resign. So you'll be able to pick up from 2030 in June. So if you are interested, find the link in the description below. But we'll move on. We'll go into year 2. So we're straight back into year 2, and it looks like they've won the Serie A title once again. A few changes here. Key player is now listed as Stanimir Stoichev, so we'll have to check his stats, see how he's performing another season with development. Thomas Tuchel is the manager. Let's check the Serie A table. So Juventus look like they're coming back into it in terms of domestic form. They finished second twice now in a row. So that, I think it's good for Italian football to have them competing. We are back to 4 Champions League spots, and if you remember, we actually went down to 3 whilst we were still managing Livorno. So it's good to see Italy getting back into that sort of form, I guess. 4th in terms of the competition reputation. Now here's what I want to see. I want to see transfers. They brought in 60 million. What? Kyle Wright for 18.75 million pounds. That is a ridiculously low fee. If you remember Kyle Wright, Scottish central midfielder, incredibly well-rounded, classed as a world-class midfielder by the media. Scored them goals in that final season against Bilbao to see us through to the next round. I don't get this game sometimes. We signed him for 23, and he was one of our key players for 4 years, and developed really nicely as a 25-year-old central midfielder in his prime. And they've sold him to Porto for 18 million. That's just stupid. They also sold that winger they brought in last season to Porto as well, this time for £17 million. Ziga, we signed him a lot of years ago, high hopes for him. He didn't really develop as I would have expected, so he's now joined West Ham. Tristan Fick, we signed him a long time ago. I actually completely forgot we even had him. He was our starting left back for a good few seasons before we started upgrading the squad. Jord Banga, another German who was brought in, who was classed as a wonder kid when we signed him, didn't really perform for us, and we definitely signed better replacements. Crociati, we signed him basically to be an Italian in our squad, and now he's joined Fiorentina. Lucas Rehak, a centre-half who'd never really developed as I would have hoped. Spent a couple of seasons at Inter Milan, I think, on loan. 1 season at Inter Milan, and he's just been getting loaned out ever since, so probably a good move for him to end up getting sold. I am a little surprised that there isn't the big sales that I was seeing. You know, when my director of football was in charge, he couldn't wait to get rid of some names. In terms of incomings, Christian Gonzalez, I'm imagining, he's a fantastic right back. Why didn't I spot him? But he looks really good. I'm imagining they're signing wingers here, because we haven't got that many wingers in the squad, and unless they've changed formation once again, they're not really signing wingers. That's a little bit surprising. Another striker, unless they're training our current strikers to play on the wings. They haven't really got the players for that system. We'll see what they've been playing. They are still playing the wingers, the 4-2-3-1. They are playing that young Croatian out on the left, according to the last game. Ralovic out on the right this time rather than the left. He can play both. Looks like they're training him to play attacking midfielder as well. He's fantastic, isn't he? He was a signing for £2 million, and he was unbelievable for us. Vikadil, he's getting games. I signed him, I think it was 3 seasons ago, from Sparta Prague, 4.1, spent a couple of seasons out on loan, and now it looks like he's come back and getting first team football, and he's looking pretty tasty at 20 years old. If he can continue to improve, particularly the physicals and mentals, he'll be an absolutely world-class striker without a doubt. Where is Stoichev? I want to see him. 47 games, 23 goals scored this season. Let's take a look. Whew, he's looking pretty good. Not as good as Ponce, but he's looking really good. And who else is coming in the first team squad? Gonzalez, who they signed. Ailton Semedo, we signed him as well. He's now classed as a wonder kid, Portuguese. 40 million pounds he's worth. He's not that good, but I mean he is pretty good. 1.4 million pounds a good few seasons ago. Is that actually our final season in charge? We signed him. But yeah, he's looking okay and he's getting game time, so that's the most important thing. Cesar Alternat is still getting game time. I mean, he's alright, he's good, and he's got the finished product, but he's not brilliant. Interesting stuff. Let's see how they got on in the Champions League this year. So, Champions League first knockout round. They managed to get out of the group stages this time. We'll check the group. They finished second behind Monaco. Not ideal whatsoever. But they got to the first knockout round at the very least. Drew 1-1 with Real Madrid. Beat Real Madrid, so they're into the quarters. Beat Man United. They got knocked out in the quarterfinals against Manchester United. Disappointing. Quarterfinals always our slip-up point. They actually took Man United to extra time with 10 men as well. Roberto Rodriguez is in the squad. He's a striker was signed as well. I wonder if they've been playing him out on the wings, because he can do that. Signed him for 625 grand a long time ago. Not developed as much as the others, but he's looking good. Right, well, I'm conscious of the time here, so we'll wrap that up for Season 2. Let's get to Season 3. So we're going to start flying through this a little bit quicker. First in Serie A, so they've won the league again in the third season. How many points by this time? And are Juventus second? They're not. They've dropped down massively to 7th. And they've got 100. They had an unbeaten season. Trust Livorno to go unbeaten once we've left the club. Maybe they're better off without us, but they've won the league once again. I think that's maybe 6 titles in a row. 7 titles in a row, sorry. Let's quickly check how they're done in the Champions League. Come on. Champions League win alongside an unbeaten season will be absolutely unbelievable, but not to be. They got beat 3-0 in the Champions League quarterfinals once again against Real Madrid. So unfortunately, no European glory to go along with the domestic unbeaten season. Who have they sold this time? Christian Gonzalez, is that right back that they signed? So they're signing players, keep them for a season and let them go. Patrick Pelak is left, our backup right wing back we were playing him at anyway. He's joined Sampdoria for what could rise to 25 million, but nobody else really leaving the club, which is surprising. Let's take a quick look at who they're bringing in. Angelo Vitale, a winger. It's about time you start bringing in wingers if you're playing wingers in your system. Italian this time, 18.5. Juan Morales, a right midfielder. Colombian, Christian Marti as well, a left midfielder youngster, 17-year-old French. Let's take a look at the players in terms of the goals. Stanimir Stoichev once again leading the line, and he's just unbelievable. Bulgarian, 22 years old, 48 goals and 39 caps for his national side. Physically, mentally, technically, he's got it all. He is a world-class striker, and he has developed into a very good player after we signed him for the measly sum of £2.4 million. Vaishadil is getting goals as well, 21 goals in 46 games. He's developing quite nicely. Not as good as Stoichev by any means, but still a very, very good player. 10 assists to go alongside his goals as well. Ralovic, he's getting less goals and assists than he was for us, but I'm imagining they're playing him on either wings, so he's going to get less opportunities. 12 goals and 10 assists in 30 games in the league. Udem getting a lot of game time this season. He hasn't really developed beyond what we signed him at, really. £42 million were paid, a lot of money. And he did have a good season the season we left. 11 goals and 6 assists in the league. But apart from that, he's having pretty average terms playing in behind the striker. Is any of our other youngsters coming through? Kasjanic, we signed him as a central midfielder. He's playing at centre half. He's not that good. A bit of a flop from me. We signed him for 500k. Doesn't look like he's really developed massively. We spent last season on loan at PSG and got a lot of game time. That is a bit surprising. But Kasjanic in there at centre half. Oscar Lopez, has he developed? Looks like he might be getting a bit more game time. He definitely seems a little more technically well-rounded. Semedo, he was getting game time last season. Doesn't look like he's kicked on that much as a 21-year-old, but now valued at £63 million, which is a bit unbelievable. Let's take a look at Pizzulo, see how he's getting on. World-class midfielder. He is now 29 years old, Italian, coming into this will be his swan song the next couple of years. he'll see probably his best football, but declining attributes. You'll probably say, but he does play in Italy, so he might stay for years. We've already checked Stoichev. He is wanted. Maybe this might be the season he leaves Manchester City and Manchester United. I tell you what, we're going to check on Ponce. I want to see how he's getting on without us leading him. Oh, just look at him. We had him. He was ours. How's he doing in the past couple of seasons for Manchester City? Just bagging in the goals, really. Just 38 goal season from this season in 58 games. Who else should we check who was a former player? How's Van der Ende getting on? He was one that stung a lot. Because he joined Red Bull Leipzig, who weren't like a mile away from the kind of club we were. And he's not even kicked on properly under them. £47.5 million was a pittance for him, and he hasn't really kicked on. Let's check Carpano, who was probably one of the best centre-halves in the game at the time he was playing at us. And he's still very, very good, but he has declined physically quite a bit at Wolves. He's 29 now, so you do expect his physicals to decline. And ever since his £59 million move, he's been ever present in that Wolves side. Who else did we sell? Moise Vlad-Paul. How's he getting on? He was at Liverpool, but last I checked, he was on loan. He's now at Sampdoria on loan from Liverpool. Still the exact same, really. Physically talented, mentally just about there. Technically a little bit weak, but he's signing for Liverpool, 46 million. Didn't really turn out great for him. Who else have we sold? What's the Norwegian called who signed for Man City? Nuts Jongard. He is now at Juventus. The absolute bloody traitor. £49.5 million to Man City. Played some games at Man City, but was very much a rotation option for them. Spent a couple of seasons out on loan as well. And then is signed for Juventus for 15 million. I would have loved to have signed this guy back. I would have played him left wing back, to be honest. Right, that's enough for Season 3. Let's get on to Season 4. Alright, so I've loaded up Season 4. Let's go to Livorno. First in Serie A again. So domestically, they are holding true. Who came second this time, and how many points did they win by? And you're joking me. 2 seasons in a row they've went unbeaten. I think Italy's become a little bit poor. I think it's fair to say. Napoli in second, Juventus in third this season. One of these teams really needs to kick on and start challenging Livorno. If Livorno are going to progress, never mind anything else. But let's quickly check how they got on in the Champions League. I really hope they do win the Champions League at least once. First knockout round, beat Man United. That's a big result. Beat Red Bull Leipzig in the quarterfinals. They've actually got to the semis and they've got knocked out of Real Madrid. Same as last season. Real Madrid beat them in the quarters. They are still struggling. And 2 sendings off in the first leg. No wonder they ended up getting beat. That is poor form by Victor Campos and Semedo. In terms of the transfers, let's see what's happened with these. Oh, Eorton Cruz Marx has left for 50 million. I mean, he hasn't kicked on as much as I thought he would, to be honest. We signed him for a big fee. I think it was £44 million. And he sort of became a little bit of a bit part player after we left. He had a fantastic season for me, but then just seemed to fall out of favour. Now he's signed for Man City, £6 million profit. I guess you can't complain. Eorton Cruz, our backup goalkeeper who was becoming first choice when we left, is signed for Man United for £46 million. He looks like he's their first choice now. I think he was our first choice as well for a good couple of years. Maybe they've signed somebody this season. We'll have to check. Ronald Weber, a really good striker for us. Replaced Ponce really well and scored a lot of goals. But they've sold him for another cheap fee, £34.5 million. He's now valued at 57 at Liverpool. And he definitely found himself a bit part player after we left. This was the season we left. 24 goals in 30 games. And then after that, they probably tried to use him on the wing. Because he wasn't going to get in a striking position over Stoichev after how he's improved. But interesting. Not anyone else. Ventroni out on loan to Real Madrid. No fee either. That's a poor bit of business. He's absolutely fantastic. So in terms of the ins, I just want to see if they signed a goalkeeper really. Domenico Ostoni, he's a 16-year-old right back. So he's not going to be a goalkeeper. Neither is a 16-year-old French guy. What about a free? They've signed him to replace Ventroni. So no goalkeeper signed. They must be playing Carubo, the other goalkeeper that was signed, and he's developed. He's probably on a similar level to Eorton Cruz, to be honest. We signed him for 2.2 million a couple of seasons before we ended up resigning. He had a couple of loan spells out at Torino and Perugia, and he's come back and he's made the number 1 spot his own in goal. In terms of anyone else, we'll check on Patrick again now. We're 4 years in. Still an absolutely fantastic player. Still looks like he's playing predominantly at centre-back rather than defensive midfield because they don't play any defensive midfielders anymore. Ailton Semedo, he's not developing. Really, I don't see much different compared to when we last checked, and he's 22 years old now. His potential will be rapidly reducing compared to what it was when he was 19, 18. Vaishadil, we'll see how he's improving, playing on the right-hand side in this formation. Again, looks pretty much the same as last time. I think a lot of these players are reaching their full potential. Roberto Rodriguez playing out on the left. Again, playing to his full potential. Doesn't look like he's played many games at all. Stanimir Stoichev, though, he's playing the games and he is fast becoming the second best striker in the world behind Nahuel Ponce. 20 goals in 36 games in Serie A. Unbelievable from him. In terms of who's getting a lot of game time, Karubo Campos. So we'll see how Campos has progressed. Is he that much better than what the other lad was? What's his face? Marx? I'm not sure. I'm not But he is a fantastic player and we did sign him. So even though we never actually managed to get around to play to him, it's no surprise that he's good. Ralovic is still getting game time at 27. Still fantastic. Zango still getting plenty of game time despite seeming like he's maybe the backup centre-back now behind Campos and Patrick. But he has probably been playing at right-back. It looks like they've trained him there. He's very much a defensive right-back. But playing the 4-2-3-1, you don't need the sort of attacking wing-backs that I was playing. Right, that's enough for Season 4. We'll get to our final season that we're going to review today, which is Season 5. Right, so we're here. It is the final season which we will be reviewing today. And Livorno, as typically, as you would think, has won the league. Why is Vaishadil the key player? Why is Stanimir Stoichev? Right, we'll check that out. We'll quickly review Serie A and how they did in Europe. So, not an unbeaten season. So, not 3 seasons in a row where they went unbeaten. They got beat off Spezia away from home of all teams. Spezia, who finished 12th. So, there we go with that. Atalanta finishing second, Milan in the Serie A is just an absolute mess of teams at the top, apart from Livorno. They're the only team that seems to be consistent at anything. So we'll quickly check in terms of the Champions League. Oh, I'm already here. First knockout round. Have I got this messed up? So they made it in the first knockout round and they got knocked out of Chelsea straight away. No European glory ever since we've left. They've actually still got a game to go in the league against Palermo. We've come back a little bit too early. 2035, what's happened here? Why have they still got a game to play in June? I don't know. But never mind, still no European glory. We'll check the transfer, see if anyone... Oh my days. 138. 74 million for Stoichev. Are you absolutely kidding me? You see, Ailton Semedo sold for £138 million. He's unbelievable. He's a great, great player. And he's developed fantastically since we've left. And 138 million probably would have tempted me, even if I was managing transfers. Stanimir Stoichev has left the club for £74 million. I mean, that's just stupid. Why is the EI managers so thick in terms of what they will accept in terms of offers? It's just infuriating. Jerome Mert left to join Manchester United for 50 million. Left back who was signed hasn't really developed that massively compared to when we had him. Baba Al Hassan, I can't even remember this guy. I don't think he was one of mine. And he's joined Juventus for 37.5 million. What's the crack there? Angelo Vitalia, he was a winger I think they signed. He's joined Red Bull. So they brought in £360 million this season in terms of transfers. Ventroni is left to Barca for a fee that could rise to 43.5. Now that's probably a good bit of business for a 32-year-old right back. But why? There was a fire sale this season. Were they financially unstable? Probably. I probably wrecked that ages ago. But they only brought in £37 million worth of talent. Another winger, right winger French, not that good. Great for 21 million. An Argentinian centre-back, not that great. Nassim, whatever his face is, for 10 million. He's okay at 18 years old. Probably has got plenty of potential to grow. Florent Arnaud for 1.1. A decent backup goalkeeper, I guess. I think we might start seeing Livorno slip soon. Moise Keane, striker on a free. He's, 35. So it looks like Ralovic and Vaishadil have had to step up and become the main goal scorers in this side to be able to keep it going after the sale of Stanimir Stoichev, which is just baffling. I can't believe they've sold him for that amount. Simone Piccolo was actually one I really had my eye on as being a future star for us. He's 24 years old now. He's probably spent every season out on loan, and he's not really progressed at the sort of rate I would have hoped. So that's a bit of a bad on my part. Solossi's still there, still kicking at 28 years old, still chipping in with the assists. 11 assists, 6 goals in 35 games. I'm not that interested in this squad after the sale of Stoichev. Victor Campos, let's see how he's getting on. He's not doing too bad, is he? Patrick's still probably one of the best players in the game. Definitely at 26 years old. He'll probably be sold next season. We'll see how Kasinic is getting on in terms of his development. Wait, he's not developing anymore. He's 28. Why is he still in the squad? I have no idea. I really think, given a couple more seasons, that Livorno will start to fall and they will become sort of like the rest of the teams in Serie A. Don't know where they fit in the league anymore, but they're still performing incredibly well. They'll probably end the season on 99 points, so it might be a bit premature to say they will decline, but if they have another sale like they did this season, next season they definitely will. And that's an episode I'm going to bring you next time. So we will be going a further 5 years in the next episode to see how Livorno have got on 10 years into the future all in. Anyway, if you haven't enjoyed today's video, please consider leaving a like, and if you are enjoying my content, get yourself subscribed. But until next time, take it easy.